Conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to call the village board meeting to order for Tuesday, July 28th. Roll call, please.
Trustee Allison Williams.
Here.
Trustee Paul.
Here.
Trustee Zerbel.
Here.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Here.
Trustee Melcheski.
Here.
President Kardowski.
Here. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I need action on the agenda. I have no changes.
Move to approve the agenda is approved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on open and closed minutes. The regular meeting of June 23rd, 2020.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the village board special meeting from July 10th, 2020.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. If there's any public that would like to talk about items not on the agenda. I was contacted by two different people, so instead of them coming, because we knew that we would have such a full house tonight, they chose to send an email instead. So I'm going to read those two into the public comment section of tonight. The first one is from Sarah Friedel. I wish to acquire a permit to keep chickens. I live at 2759 Otto Court. In my backyard is a ravine and Dutchman's Creek. I live here with my partner of 8 years, Josh Waters, and our 3 kids. Currently, the ordinance number 06-1-14 states that I need to receive written permission from any neighbor that is located within 100 feet of my property line. My property is unusual for Ashwaubenon in that it is 1.4 acres. This lot size has allowed me to build a chicken coop that is 165 feet from the street and in my backyard that is 125 feet wide. I've gotten enthusiastic permission from all neighbors except from across the street. They are well over 200 feet away from my coop, but with a lot line only 45 feet, the width of the street from my lot line. I would like the board to review Municipal Code Section 5, Article 1, Part 2B. My humble suggestion would be to offer a variance based on lot size or a rewrite to say all applicants must receive written approval from all of the owner-occupied neighboring property owners within 100 feet of the coop structure. This would replace the rule of all applicants must receive written approval from all of the owner-occupied neighboring property owners within 100 feet of the property line. If you guys have a better way of writing this, please know I'm just offering this as a suggestion. But now you have a picture of my dilemma. I realize the village board has worked very hard and done extensive research into allowing chickens to be kept in the village of Ashwaubenon. I realize too that this endeavor is relatively new to our village. Please note that I respect all that you have done. I too have done extensive research in the keeping of chickens. I do not take this frivolously. I have been informing myself on the keeping of chickens for many years. I am very aware of the necessity to keep chickens clean and contained. My chicken run is fully enclosed on all sides by wire fencing that has even been buried underground. My partner Josh is a carpenter. We have ample access to fresh wood shavings. As a matter of health and aesthetics, we plan on keeping our coop and run very clean. All regulations will be adamantly followed. I sincerely would appreciate your consideration of helping us acquire a chicken permit. I would suggest that we cannot comment on this anyway, that we just read this into the record and direct staff to look at it. Okay? The second one is a letter from Dan Zepnick. Hi, Mary, this is from Dan Zepnick. I live at 2408 Shady Lane next to the Crick Conservancy. On May 28th, we had a heavy rain event. My neighbor called me to tell me the creek is backing up way into my yard. They said we got 3 inches in an hour. Remember that figure. This was around 1 p.m. Well, I left work 5 minutes away, and when I got home, there was water about a foot deep running down Shady and Glen Road. There was wood chunks floating across my yard, and the street crew was already putting barricades up to stop traffic. I had 3 feet of water up against my south wall. Water was entering into my lower level through the cracks in the door. We got about 3 inches of muddy water in the whole lower level. I had 2 pumps pumping water away, which took a while to do. While I was pumping, I walked over to the road where the culvert is, and it was blocked by tree limbs and tree trunks that were cut with a saw. Well, after we had it under control and the water receded, I took a walk and took pictures of at least 14 areas of trees in the water basin/creek. The village came into this area in February and cut the trees and left them there. The water carried it downstream and plugged the culvert, which caused the water to take the path of least resistance and backed up way past my yard. We lived here for 19 years, and I've seen rain events worse with no bank overflow on our side. In 2010, we had 4 inches in 20 minutes, and the water was a foot high on our house with minor flooding. Since then, I installed a protective flood wall and banked the yard away approximately 2.5 feet high, which would have easily held back this rain event. I believe the village is negligent and responsible for our damage. I've been in contact with you and Aaron Shady about the tree problem and want it resolved. There is a state statute 8890 that says whoever owns the waterway is responsible for the flow and has to maintain the flow. I hope we can resolve this issue without legal action. Thank you, Dan Zepnik. Again, I would just direct staff to work with this. We have been working with Mr. Zepnik on this issue.
Mary, I also did get one.
You got one?
Not for that, a different letter.
Okay.
Should I read it?
Yeah, if, otherwise we'll do yours at the written communications. These were the ones that just the people wanted to talk and we can't
Okay.
comment on them.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just read them into the record and direct staff to work with the people. And then that way we can have everybody say their piece in accord about it. Okay. Number 7 is written communications or announcements. Allison.
I had a constituent reach out. I don't know if he wants his name stated, so I won't at
Okay.
this time, but it just says, "Hi Allison, I'm reaching out tonight to ask what it might take to look into upgrading the current stop sign at the corner of Hanson and Broadway. I can be playing outside with the kids, and it seems like there are constantly cars that go through the intersection without stopping and going through at a decent speed. This gets worse after dark, and there are often vehicles that don't even attempt to stop. With the number of cars that blow through the intersection, I'm amazed there aren't many accidents there. While I'm sure a lot of cars that violate the sign do know it's there, I think an upgraded sign, blinking, or something else could help bring awareness to the fact that there is a problem. In the past, the Ashwaubenon police were able to monitor the intersection from the Schneider side of Hanson, which I do believe made a difference. That, however, is no longer an option. My fear is that once people start moving into Alden Station, it will only get worse with the increased traffic and lack of enforcement. Please let me know if this is something that could be discussed or if I should be reaching out to a different department within the village." So
Okay.
I can forward that to maybe the chief and,
Actually, Allison, Hanson Road at South Broadway is, both of those are county roads, county jurisdiction.
okay,
So my recommendation would probably be, if you want to forward it to me, I can get it over to Brown County Highway
okay,
to look at.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody who is out there virtually would like to speak on any issue? If at any point anybody does, feel free to unmute yourself and let us know here so that we can let you speak. Okay, number 8. Public safety oath of office and promotions. Ryan.
Okay. Can you all hear me with the mask on? So 2 months in a row, we get to personally recognize our officers for their efforts. I want to thank the board for allowing us to do this again. I appreciate that. I saw a quote today that was written back in 1776 by Thomas Paine that I thought was very relevant today. It says, "These are the times that try men's souls." I thought, wow, that's it. That's interesting. He went on to talk about what we may now call fair weather fans, or those who are described without fortitude or pride or honor or the strength to stand up for what is right and just in a free and open society. They will, in crisis, shrink from the service of their country, but he that stands by it now deserves the love and the thanks of man and woman. So obviously they spoke a little differently in 1776, but the message is true today. So I would like to thank the spouses and family members of our officers, for those of us in the public safety profession, and for those who are just joining us. I want to personally thank all of you who served with pride and honor. I would like to thank those who stand up for what is right. We could not do this job if it were not for all of you who support us and our mission to honor the oath that we have sworn to uphold. So I want to thank all of you who support us, especially the family members, in our mission and what we do. Thank you very much. So with that said, I would like to recognize our recent promotions to captain. Captain Amundsen, come on up. You look good in uniform, by the way.
Plain clothes is pretty comfortable.
All right. So Brian Amundsen and his wife Mary and kids are graduates of Ashwaubenon High School. They reside here with their children. Brian has served 22 years as an officer with the following departments: UW Green Bay, Pulaski, is it Shawano? Yep, got it. Shawano Police Department, and Ashwaubenon. Until his promotion to captain of investigations, Brian served as a public safety officer for 7 years and was a lieutenant for 10 years. Brian leads many community activities for the department, such as the Citizens Academy, volunteers and police services, and active shooter preparedness. He believes strongly in the value of community engagement and giving back to our community. So, Brian was promoted to captain on July 6th. With that, go ahead and pin the badge, and don't hurt Dad. Are you in? You good? Okay. Now we're going to swear him in. Patrick's going to do that. Do the honors for us. Here,
Good, sir.
you want to hold this?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brian Amundsen,
I, Brian Amundsen,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
would not have yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but not have entered the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of this office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thanks, Brian.
Congrats. All right. Neil Brown. He's out there hiding. Come on up, sir. Neil and his wife reside, along with their 4 children, in the area. Neil's been a member of the department for 22 years. Neil has served as a member of the United States Army for 6 years. Thank you for that service. He was an officer with the De Pere Police Department for 2 years, and he served 3 years with the Brown County Sheriff's Office. He was also a part-time paid on-call firefighter with Ashwaubenon for a year. Neil was hired as a public safety officer with Ashwaubenon back in 1997. Neil was a field training officer for over 10 years, and he served as a member of the Brown County Field Force Team. Neil was promoted to lieutenant in 2015, and in July, he became captain. Congratulations. Patrick, sir?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Neil Brown,
I, Neil Brown,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, come on up. All right, Tom and his wife reside in the area with their 2 children. Tom has been a member of the Public Safety Department for 16 years. Prior to the public safety, Tom was a member of the United States Coast Guard. He also earned his paramedic license from NWTC. Tom, for some reason, I've left the rest of your quote. You're gone. I don't know what else you've done for us. It's been an amazing ride. It has. Yeah, it's been unbelievable. So we are going to go with the badge pinning. How long have you been working for us, Tom?
16 years.
Did I say that already?
You did.
I did. What else have you done?
Man College, field training officer,
Uh-huh.
SWAT team,
Uh-huh. Mobile Field Force?
all field force.
You're forgetting stuff.
Probably.
All right.
No pressure.
If you stab them, we have paramedics. Or Band-Aids, whatever.
All right. Let's get you sworn in here.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Thomas Baxter,
I, Thomas Baxter,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
but not have yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet upon the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Where is Brian Murphy?
Chief, can I interrupt for just a second? You
can.
mentioned the families before, and I think we were a little bit, not negligent, but quiet in backing how important they are to this community and the guys here, guys and women that are on our staff. So I just want to make sure we give them a round of applause.
Absolutely. Mr. Murphy, Brian and his wife reside in the area with their 2 children. They're here. All right. Brian has served for 16 years as an officer with the following departments: UW Oshkosh, UW Milwaukee, got a little theme there, West Milwaukee Police Department, and Ashwaubenon Public Safety. While with the West Milwaukee PD, Brian also worked for 4 years as a part-time firefighter and EMT with the Menominee Falls Fire Department. He was hired as a public safety officer with Ashwaubenon in 2015. During Brian's 5 years with the village, he became a paramedic, a member of the Brown County Field Force, and Explorer Post Advisor. He was promoted to the rank of lieutenant in 2019 and captain. Now, we're going to pin him on. Let's see what we can do, guys. You got it. No worries. There you go. Good work. Look at that. Nice job. Well done.
Good evening.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brian Murphy,
I, Brian Murphy,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
having been elected or appointed to the office of captain,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof, swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jason. I'm gonna wear these down so they don't fog up. Getting old. Jason, his wife, and kids live in the area. They're all here looking nice, too. Beautiful. Jason attended UW-Platteville, where he graduated with a double major in criminal justice and psychology. Psychology? Now I know. All right. He was an officer with the Sauk County Police Department for 9 years and served with the Sauk Prairie Ambulance Association as director and emergency medical technician for 7 years. Jason was hired by the city of De Pere and served as an officer for 2 years before joining Ashwaubenon Public Safety in 2012. In 2017, Jason became a field training officer for our department, and in 2018, he joined the Brown County Field Force Team. He was appointed to lieutenant on July 8th. Patrick? Actually, let's do the pinning first, shall we? All right. Oh, that's a record.
That was easy.
Well done. Yeah. Here you go, sir. Stay right here. Where do you get sworn? Sir.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jason Demerath,
I, Jason Demerath,
having been elected or appointed to the office of lieutenant,
have been elected or appointed to the office of lieutenant,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
All right. Now it is my honor to welcome up our new officers. First, I would like to welcome up Matt Rollin. Is he here? There he is. Oh, we got a long sleeve too. Well done. All right. Matt and his wife currently reside in Door County, but they'll be joining us at some point here, right? All right. Matt has been employed as a paramedic with EMT services of Door County since June of 17, with County Rescue Services since September of 2019, and as a paid-on-call firefighter with the Southern Door Fire Department since August of 2014. Matt is currently a licensed paramedic and has his Firefighter 1 certification. Matt is currently in the FTO program with our department. Let's pin it on. Let's see how we do. No pressure. Nobody's looking.
Don't worry, nobody's watching.
Nobody's paying attention. You got it. Well done. Well done. Now for the swearing in.
Good evening. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Matthew Rollin,
I, Matthew Allen,
having been elected or appointed to the office of Public Safety Officer,
having been elected or appointed to the office of Public Safety Officer,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next is Eric Bomia. Eric resides in the area with his wife and their 2 children. He is a veteran, having served in the U.S. Army National Guard, and was honorably discharged in 2010 with the rank of Sergeant E5. Thank you for that service. He was most recently employed for the past year as a firefighter for the village of Swamico and a security officer at the Point Beach Nuclear Power Plant. Eric has his EMT basic certification as his firefighter 1 and fire instructor 1 certification. Eric is currently attending the Law Enforcement Academy at NWTC, and then will start in the FTO program. The pinning, please.
Nobody's watching.
You got it. She's there. Well done. There you go. And it's swearing in.
Good evening, sir. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eric Bomia,
I, Eric Homia,
having been elected or appointed to the office of Public Safety Officer,
have been elected or appointed to the office of Public Safety Officer,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The floor is yours, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Congratulations and welcome. So it's an exciting day. So now everybody leaves. See, they can all stay and finish the meeting. Okay, now it looks like I have 2 questions up there.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy?
I just sent you.
If anybody, the people who have the questions up on the teleprompter, if they would like to undo their mic? Oh, okay. Congratulations to Tom Baxter from Montana, and I didn't see the other one. Okay. Congratulations to Tom Baxter from Fort Eustis, Virginia. His service and dedication are a credit to his family. Okay. Sorry. Okay, 2 comments, but, okay. Number 9, I need action on the consent agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented, which is the operator's license, the investment report, budgeted expenditures, and department reports. The only thing I want to say about the department reports, I had Public Works put in there how much it has cost us with the large rubbish pickup that we have lately, and the month of May, it was $28,000. We used to get those numbers every now and then, and I just think it's kind of a large number, you know, and then with everybody that was home and cleaning out their houses for so many months, and I just wanted everybody to know how much that does cost, so, anyway. Okay, we have a motion and a second on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, we have public hearings. 10A, public hearing regarding the final resolution to vacate the Pilgrim Way access road located in the village of Ashwaubenon, Brown County, Wisconsin. This item, we have Aaron Shady on the telephone if anybody would like to ask any questions. But this item is, there's a section of the road that's by Pilgrim. That's going to be the Bergstrom Subaru dealership over there. So we have to vacate that section of road. So is there anybody here that would like to speak against this item? Anybody here who would like to speak against this item? Anybody here who would like to speak for this item? Anybody want to speak for this item? Okay.
Move to close the public hearing. Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10B, public hearing regarding a conditional use permit for a proposed Bergstrom Subaru dealership at 761 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-143-1-A. Again, this is a public hearing. This is for the conditional use permit because in the zoning that is on that property, car dealership would have to have a conditional use permit. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this? Anybody who'd like to speak against this? Anybody who would like to speak for this? Anybody who would like to speak for this? Okay.
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close this public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10C, public hearing regarding conditional use permit for red demix concrete at 2885 Allied Street, parcel VA-184-A. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this item? Anybody who would like to speak against this item? Anybody who would like to speak for this item? Anybody who would like to speak for this item?
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10D, public hearing on ordinance number 07-3-20 regarding a proposed 9-unit, single-family rental home planned unit development at the 2400 block of South Ridge Road, parcel VA-127. Is there anybody here who would like to speak against this item? This is a 9-unit, single unit development that's on the corner of Pilgrim and Ridge. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this item? Yes, sir. Could you come up and state your name and address, please, for the record?
Sir. Good evening. Kirk
Good evening.
Thompson. Presently in 2531 Northern Harrier Pass, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54313.
I'm sorry, sir, did you say Kurt?
Kirk.
Kurt, thank you.
Could you speak a little closer, get a little closer to the microphone, please?
Certainly. This lot of property has not been zoned properly. It's been in my family for many years and has recently transferred out of my family to my stepfamily. Looking to see why the zoning may have changed, or if it has changed. Secondly, this property has previously been condemned and was tried to be used for the high school for a parking lot. Thirdly, the county and village has discussed many times about having this as a water draining reservoir for the county's water table. Fourthly, previously told for the last nearly 40 years that we could not develop. However, somehow this is now on the docket again to change when we haven't been able to develop for years. But now that it's moved to my stepfamily, they are continuing. Let's see. It also represents and is adjacent to our current properties of the loft apartments and has impacts on our business. And then lastly, also would have considerations for traffic for the school.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak against this project? Okay, is there anybody here who would like to speak for this project? Mr. Gorky?
I would. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So we covered a lot of the items and kind of the benefits to the village, notice and whatnot. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm here if you have any questions about the project. So if anyone has any, feel free to let me know before your consideration.
Eric, could you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. Eric Ortiz, 1530 Crystal Lake Circle, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54311.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to speak for this project? Anybody who would like to speak for this project?
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close this hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10E, a public hearing regarding ordinance 07-1-20, amending section 17-4-100, table of allowable uses, removing transitional facility from I-2 heavy industry. This was the item that was brought up when we made the definition of transitional facility, and it was suggested to take it out of the I-2 zoning because you wouldn't put a living facility in I-2 zoning. So is there anybody here who would like to speak against this? Anybody here? I'm sorry. No, this is just transitional facility definition that was taking it out of the I-2 heavy industry zoning. So we would not allow it to go into I-2 heavy zoning. Okay, is there anybody who would like to speak against this? Anybody who would like to speak for this? Anybody who would like to speak for this? Okay.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, action items. 11A, action on resolution number R7-1-20 regarding the final resolution to vacate the Pilgrim Way access road located in the village of Ashwaubenon in Brown County, Wisconsin. Again, this is that Pilgrim Way access road for the Bergstrom Subaru dealership. Is there any questions on this? Like I said, Aaron is on the phone if we need any questions for him.
Do we have a fee for vacating streets?
Doug?
Typically, there is some engineering work involved in the legal descriptions, things of that nature. So those costs are passed along, and Bergstrom has been notified of those costs.
Okay.
So we'll be invoicing them at the end of this process.
Doug, have we checked on contamination at all in that area on the road that we're vacating, so we don't end up in the same situation as we did before?
We have not.
Is that our responsibility?
Great question, Mark. As part of the vacation process.
If I could address that issue.
Okay, Aaron.
The property owner is taking responsibility for any issues with this street vacation. This is not a village issue if they come across something.
Aaron, do we have that documented in buy-sell agreement or whatever that we have with that?
We don't have a formal development agreement with them, but I certainly can talk to their corporate or their attorney and get that.
I don't have a problem in the project, but I just think we should go through our legal channels before we just go ahead and do it and we run into the same issue we did the last time. So I mean, that's the way I feel about it right now, because it's costing us lots of money to take care of that other one right now.
Right.
So can we approve it pending?
On the condition that?
On the condition of them incurring any expenses of dirt in regards to contamination?
We can use that as a
Entering into an
conditional.
agreement.
Pardon?
Throw that
entering into an agreement regarding responsibility of any cost.
Bless you.
Gary, did you say something?
Yeah, we could throw that in as a conditional, or condition in the buyer-seller agreement. It was brought up at the plan board, which I'm on, and like Aaron said, they had taken responsibility for it, but I understand your question too, Mark. If we don't have some legal documentation on it, we don't want to get into that other situation that we're talking about.
Are they in dire need of this approval right away, Tony?
I believe that they are, plus we also have, we've gone through the process, and so that could have an effect, I think, if we delayed it, just as far as the procedure for vacating a street as well.
So, okay. I'll make a motion that we approve resolution R7-1-20 regarding the vacating of Pilgrim Way Access Road, contingent upon them entering an agreement, having the village not responsible for any aspect of vacation of that road.
I'll second that motion, Mark.
Okay, so we have a motion and a...
Do you want it to say specifically including contamination? I mean, any aspect?
Am I okay with that motion, Tony, or is that included in that, or should we make it more succinct?
If you want to be that specific, that's fine too. So including contamination.
Including contamination, that's fine, add that in there then. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve resolution R7-1-20 and having it contingent on that we are not responsible for any contamination in the agreement. Everybody understands that?
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11B, action on conditional use permit for a proposed Bergstrom Subaru dealership at 761 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-143-1-A. Like I said in the public hearing, this is zoned B3, and it has to have a conditional use permit for automobile sales. So that's why this is for. Any questions?
I'll make the motion to approve conditional use permit for Bergstrom Subaru dealership, 761 Pilgrim Way.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for the proposed Bergstrom Subaru dealership. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11C, action regarding conditional use permit for red demix concrete at 2885 Allied Street, parcel VA-184-A. The only thing that I did want to make aware of is that there was a revised language put in. Their typical hours are between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. Sometimes during the summer, when it's really hot and they have a lot of stuff going, they have to start early, which they do now, and run maybe later. So Aaron added the language, typical but not exclusive hours of operation to be between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. So, and it wouldn't be anything different than what they currently are doing, and we have had no complaints from this plant since we had controlled the dust issue. So I just wanted to make everybody aware that was a change from when it went to plan board.
This too was brought up between the site plan committee and the plan board. We did make those stipulations in the hours that Mary just mentioned. With the addition of their new way of producing their product and the way the design of the trucks coming in and out, we did not have any problem with that. So if there's no other questions on this.
I got a question.
You got one?
Aaron, are you there?
Aaron, are you there? Yep.
Yes, I am.
Have we had much, I I know some of the dilemmas we've had in the past in that area, and I know that we're looking at, you know, development and stuff like that. I know Ready Mix has been there for a long time, don't get me wrong. I don't normally have an issue with it, but I just want to know, I mean, do we have any, because of highway access and everything there, access to the highway for development, that we have anybody looking at that area at all? Or, I mean, I don't want to have them spend thousands and thousands of dollars if we're trying to redevelop that area into more, I shouldn't say more productive, but I am going to say more productive, you know, use of land in the village of Ashwaubenon.
There really hasn't been any interest in redevelopment in that area. We have talked with Ready Mix in the past regarding potentially moving to a different location. What they have told us, and I can understand where they're coming from, is that site is perfectly placed for them in terms of highway access and ability to get throughout the Green Bay area in a relatively short amount of time. So to date, there has been no redevelopment interest in the Ready Mix site or any of the other businesses on Allied.
Okay, I'm going to have one question for the gentleman, that the owners here, I guess. Do you foresee doing anything with that open farm field over there? No?
We do actually have
Could I have you come in front of the mic, please, and state your name and address, Frank?
Frank Kolakowski, 1766 Camarillo Court, De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm with Red D. That field is actually currently listed with the Realtor for build-to-suit, and have indicated to the Realtor pretty wide open for anything they may be able to find. We've had occasional, you know, people kicking the tires, so to speak, but nothing that looked real promising. So we are interested in doing it, and again, actively looking at it with a Realtor, but nothing on the plate right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll move to approve the conditional use permit for Ready Mix Concrete at 2885 Allied, parcel VA-184-A.
Is that with the conditions of approval that are
Yes,
listed in the
yes.
green sheet? Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for Red D-Mix Concrete at 2885 Allied Street. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11E, action on ordinance number 07-3-20 regarding a proposed 9-unit single-family rental home planned unit development at the 2400 block of South Ridge Road, parcel VA-127. Again, this is, it's going to be a planned unit development, and that takes care of the zoning issue. Aaron, did you hear the concerns that were listed during the public hearing?
Generally, yes. I guess I can't speak to what may or may not have happened in the past. In terms of the zoning of the property does have split zoning on it right now. It is half R1 residential and half R3 multifamily residential. The planned unit development overlay is meant to, I guess, deal with that issue in a way that would allow for the 9 single-family rental homes to be located on one parcel of land. In terms of the other issues that the gentleman brought up, I know I talked with Steve Berger regarding stormwater management for this site. They're going to be developing a stormwater management pond for their project on the site. But as far as what else happened in the past with the school district and everything else, I really can't speak to that. We really have to deal with the project as proposed today.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Mary, this is in your backyard. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, there was a proposal a number of years ago that was a much more dense proposal. It was for 20 or 30 apartment units. So, you know, this is a much better proposal. They're 1,400 square foot rental units. You know, you can't stop people from developing their land, and if they feel that they can develop this and you know, bring more units to the village, like I said, you can't stop people from developing their land. They did take care. There was a question about where the garbage dumpsters were going to be. They took care of that. It's kind of in the middle of it's private garbage because it's a private development. So I guess, you know, it's a good development for that corner.
Harry, we had a public hearing on this particular project. The first project, the public hearing didn't go too well. People didn't like it. They didn't like the idea of a big wall and facing their backyard. This unit or project, when it came to the public hearing, the people that were there, and there were not a lot of people there, surprisingly, because they were not for the first one, but the ones that were there didn't have any problem with this problem at all. The gentleman that spoke here, I've heard of some of them concerns way back. I did know the fellow that did own that property back in a number of years ago. But I did hear those concerns, but I have never heard of any real action taken on it. So I'm just going to say it's a project that the area residents are not opposed to.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, I'll move to approve, where are we here? 9-unit, single-family rental plan unit development at 2400 South Ridge Road, parcel VA 127.
Ordinance 07-3-20. Do we have a second?
I'll second. But I will add to that, I'm not sure why there would be school ramifications, because as a village, or I think any municipality would encourage to have more family-oriented units come into their school district.
Chris, back in the day, when I was on the school board, I was part of that, when we were looking at buying that property for the school district at that time. We were at a loss for fields and parking in the area and stuff like that, and that's the reason why we were looking at it.
Okay.
And Gary, you said residents at the public hearing were
for it, yeah. They didn't have any problem with it.
The neighborhood meeting?
Basically, they just turned the model around, put the homes along the roads, and let the green space to the backside. So they were happy with that.
I know, too, that there's been water issues back there on Cantor Lane, and this project should help to alleviate that problem with the water issue, is what I've been told, so.
I got a quick question. Aaron, is there any possibility that this could be divided up into single-family residential ownership at any point in time?
Like any type of residential development, they certainly could condominiumize these homes. But that's really just a change in ownership type. What you as a board at this time are approving are the 9 single-family rental units, the PD. But certainly they could change ownership type and become owner-occupied at some point in the future. Condominium would be the most likely. It would be more difficult to buy the lot because there likely wouldn't be adequate frontage on Ridge or Pilgrim to make that happen.
Okay.
Okay.
I know we tried to develop this, or had several proposals come before us in the past, and they always got voted down.
Right.
And voted down forever till this one.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's, I don't know if it was right or wrong. I think I voted in favor of the other ones myself because, you know, it's consistent with what was along that whole 41 corridor along Pilgrim Way. So, I mean, I'm listening, I'm trying to find out what the residents want. I understand your concerns. You know, we should have it developed somehow, some way, but I don't know how we can instruct somebody to do that.
Well, you kind of can't.
Well, I think this is the best development that came in front that all the residents in the area would like, and especially, I know that runoff problem on those apartment homes across the street, that's been an issue with those people too for a while. So this is supposed to help that situation, so. As of knowing that property since the 70s, you know, a lot of things came, and Mark, you were on the school board, like you said, and I know that was brought up at that time for parking, but I don't see anything better than what we've got right now.
Well, first residential, I mean, if it's following the covenants or if there's any codes in the area in place, that's everything along Ridge Road, as far as building materials and brick and stuff like that, then I don't have a problem with it. But I think, I didn't see the diagrams of, you know, what they're putting in there. I don't think that's in our packet, is it? No.
Yeah, it's in there.
I didn't go down that far. I've seen it a number of times. The homes are going to basically be facing Pilgrim, and a couple of them are to the Ridge Road area.
If I remember. Well,
It's in there.
I think we're down far enough.
Is there any traffic complications with that corner?
Doug, that would be a Doug question.
We haven't had any documented traffic control problems at that location. You're going to have issues when school lets out during peak times. You'll always have issues like that, but with a development of this nature where you don't have mass in, mass out, shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, so the corner turning radius shouldn't be a problem there.
No, they have one access point coming into that facility.
Right.
Okay.
That'll be further east, or further north of Pilgrim Way. So you'll be entering and exiting at one location.
Okay.
This is also adjacent to our property, and it would be nice if you knew about the walls and traffic and noise for our tenants as well. This is directly adjacent to it.
Right, right. And I've talked with the people who are directly north of it too, with the house that they're in, and the owners of that house.
Mark, if you can get to page 131, that'll show you well.
Yeah, no, I didn't go down far enough. I'm sorry.
Aerial view.
Yeah, like I said, you can't restrict, half of the property is zoned multifamily and half of it is zoned first residential. And that's why they're doing the PUD process. So.
Are we paying the cost of any infrastructure? Sewer, stormwater, any?
No.
Not, okay.
No. There's actually a water line there that we are not doing anything to move that either, so.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 07-3-20 with staff conditions, correct?
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11E, action regarding ordinance 07-1-20, amending section 17-4-100, table of allowable uses, removing transitional facility from I-2 heavy industry. Okay, again, this is, removing the allowable use of a transitional facility in I-2 heavy industry zoning.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 07-1-20.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 07-1-20. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11F, action on requested resubmitted site plan review for extendable screening system at 841 Armed Forces Drive, parcel VA-42. This is for the screening system on the north side of the practice field. So this is what takes the place of the...
This has been talked about more than, a lot of things that I've seen in the past, and I understand the reason why. I just, because of what we've done with the Expo Center and Armed Forces Plaza and stuff there and everything, I am just wondering what this is gonna do to the look of that.
Well, you have the poles, it's something that we have to look at, for,
The poles are better than the wall.
yeah.
Well,
I think we can all agree.
You're correct. This has been beat up and thrown around at site plan. As you know, we refused the first one. It was a metal wall. We built a $100 million building, and now we're going to put a wall in front of it. That didn't make a lot of sense. Site plan did come up with the idea. We just threw it out there, isn't there something removable so we don't hide this beautiful building that is being built. They came back, and this is what they brought in front of us, is a curtain that it can be raised and lowered. Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, it only can be used while they are practicing on the field, and the wall will be brought down. So you can figure an afternoon, and it'll be down after practice whenever those days occur. It's the best of two evils. I don't like it, but the problems they got in the NFL, they like to steal other people's ideas, and looking from the second floor of the project across the street, people can look right down on the field and do their snooping or whatever they want to do to check or to look in at the Packers. So this was the best of all the alternatives that you could come up with.
Can I ask a question once on this? And I'm going to ask Aaron.
What was it?
Can you answer the question?
Aaron Popke. Aaron, could you come and
have they
state your name and address, please?
I understand what the Packers are trying to do, or what they want to do here, but my question is, has the Packers looked at possibly putting in screen shades in the second level of the expo?
Aaron Popke here representing the Green Bay Packers, 1265 Lombardi Avenue. Mark, yes, we've looked at a number of different options. I think this is one that we know, we appreciate working with everyone here at the village, staff and the committees, as Gary had mentioned. And this is something that we know can work for sure. There are some other options that could still be considered, but this is the one that we know can work for sure for all aspects.
So you're thinking shades inside the complex. They'd have to somehow not be movable.
Well, they can open and close inside of their.
Yeah, but
it
it can't be something that someone can go like this.
Right.
Well, the only thing is, though, too, is that you can put the shades on the inside, but then PMI rents out, room number 3, and it has access out to the balcony. The shades don't do you any good. So we've discussed, those things.
I am just looking at the one graphic that that was brought here. It's ugly as heck. And, and the money that somebody brought up before that we spent on the Expo Center, I don't like this at all. I understand the issue. And there's a way we can work with you to fix it, but I'm not convinced on this at all, not the way it looks.
But we would primarily only ever see the poles.
I know.
Right.
even that's an obstruction.
Well, I agree, but I also want to protect
I agree.
our team.
Well,
Me
I'm
too.
torn. I'm very
Me,
torn.
in it, without actually being there, it's hard to see what, you know, this is an NFL problem. It's not an Ashwaubenon problem. And I'm a big sports fan and a big Packer fan. And I want to protect the team too. But holy cow, the money we spent, county on, and now we got to look at that. Wow. That's a tough one.
I'm kind of torn on it too. I mean, I feel the same way, Chris. I mean, what happens if I built a 2-story building? You gonna build another wall in front of me? My property? There's too much development happening around there. What are we gonna do? What do we do with Anduzzi's? Anduzzi's built, they don't have, from their
They don't have
second
the
story
line of
balcony, they don't see it. But what happens if they did? I mean, it's the same issue there.
And this is a tough angle too, that I'm looking at. You know, maybe, I mean, is there a way, I mean, the facility's not open, obviously, or ready to have visitors at all, but I would like to get a better visual of up higher. What I'm looking at now is pretty field level. And maybe it doesn't look as bad from up there.
Well, I know the staff, the team, and the committees took a good deal of time in looking at all the different opportunities. And certainly we understand the desire to have something that's not as visually obstructed. I think that's, obviously the wall was something that we decided would not work out. And so we came up with this idea that is used at some other facilities. I think it's important to remember the competitive interests of the team, and these are steps that are not uncommon, that are taken in other facilities who have these challenges. So we certainly respect that. But in working back and forth, this was something we came up with that, the shades will only be up during a practice, and we could probably figure out how many times that is. I mean, it's very limited in the whole scope of things. So we feel this is a good option that can completely control that, as opposed to some of the other things that were looked at that, you're at the mercy of other things. This is something the team can control when the times that are needed to have that privacy and confidentiality in what they're working on. Some of the other hypotheticals you mentioned, I mean, those would have to be addressed if they ever came up. But this is just something that we need to do to operate as a business to our best ability, so.
Right. And I get all that,
Yeah.
Aaron, I appreciate that. But just looking at, I don't know if you know the graphic I'm looking at, but it's up, and even with the tarps down, the screens down, the poles are ugly as heck. They're black. Is there something else we can look at, or different options of color? It's just, the way it is now,
Looks like
this is terrible.
Looks like a blue tarp that you throw over your wood pile almost.
Well, I think color-wise, we can certainly look at the color of the posts themselves, the screens. We discussed at the last meeting that we would do something that'd be black or a dark Packers green, so they would look visually as good as they can look. And we've certainly worked with the village on that. If there are some options for the posts themselves, we can certainly look at that too.
I was gonna say, if you look at the picture, you can see the Steelers symbol right below it, so that's probably why this
was taken,
particular
right,
one is black. But, a dark Packers green. I mean,
You have to remember too that the screening would only be up when they're
poles are gonna be there.
practicing. Yeah, the poles will be there.
I get that, yeah.
30
The
feet
poles will
apart.
remain.
And how many poles are we looking at? Do we have any idea?
I think they're on the diagram, I forget the number. Is it 9? 9 or 10?
Aaron, has anybody talked about hydraulic or electric extendable poles and retractable poles?
That I don't know. I think we looked at what has been used elsewhere, and this is the product that is used and used successfully.
Because you could engineer this, or you could have retractable poles and pull them back down to the normal field height, and then extend them up along with the screening when you need it. I don't think that would be impossible at all. Hydraulics can do a lot of really neat stuff. The other unfortunate thing is that this didn't come to light 2 years ago when the building was being engineered.
Yeah, nobody thought about the second story balcony that was gonna look over a practice field.
I could go along with retractable poles, but you're right, Chris. These are basically ugly.
As is, and you're not only going to have, I see 3 poles, you're going to have how many?
Looks like 8.
8.
8.
I'm counting a lot.
And we're just put, how much we spend on this, on the expos? You know, just, it does.
94 million.
I can't get behind this. There's something we can do. I really think there's something we can do to help the Packers out with this, but this, in my opinion, this isn't it.
Well, I don't know what options we have. It's to approve this or not approve this. This was approved at site plan.
Site plan. You know, the height is roughly to the peak of a 2-story house, if you can visualize that, is about the 20, what did I fit? Where did
33 feet high.
Yeah, 32.
Right.
So if we approve this, it's going to be built as is, what I'm looking at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Black poles, black sheets.
No, the color would be according to what we arrive at.
Right.
The sheets for sure, we would do Packers themed.
You know, I don't want to deny this, but that's the way I would vote too right now. I would rather refer this back to administration to work with the Packers on a different solution. That's my recommendation. Because I don't want to deny it.
Aaron Schutte, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I guess we have, gone through and tried to figure out alternatives, starting from the steel wall as kind of the starting point. It's a tough situation because I think we all understand the position the team is in, and I think the team understands the position the village is in as well. The fact that the screening will be lowered when practice is not closed or going on, from a visual impact standpoint, I don't know how obtrusive the poles necessarily will be, but I can't say that without having the poles there right now. I can't. It's a matter of, I think people will either notice them all the time or they won't notice them, just kind of depending upon their perspective.
What about putting one up, just one up, to see what it looks like there, what is a gauge before we approve the whole thing?
Do you think if maybe some graphics were put on the poles, would, some Packer graphics be put on the poles that would make them?
Well, even, like I said before, the graphic we have here, the picture we have here is ground level. And maybe I'd feel different if I got a different view of a picture of this from up where people are going to be at the expo center. Or, obviously there's going to be down here, but we have a second level to that, right? Which is the real concern.
Right.
How's that going to look? It's tough for me to, just looking at this, just from straight across eye level, doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't look good.
There's going to be mechanics on these poles to pull these screens up and down besides. So you could be looking at a flagpole situation with, I don't know, I haven't seen one. I don't think they've even brought one to us saying what is the mechanics of it to raise and lower it. You could be looking at rope or chain hanging off of each one of these two to pull them, the whatever material, the screening up, they're gonna pull up
Okay,
too.
permission to walk around. I Google searched the Steelers practice field, and it's a better angle. Does anyone want me to walk around with it or no?
Sure. Like I said, with this picture that's in our packet, you also have to remember that those screens will not be up all the time.
Is there any mechanics in that, Chris?
No, they're all on the bottom. It's not pretty, but it's not
This is looking from the practice field
that way.
to the outside.
Still don't like it.
I think there's a way to engineer retractable ones, Aaron. I really believe that.
But looking at, not to complicate it more, but looking back at what Allison is showing too, I get it's the Steelers colors, and I get where it'd be nice, it would have been nice to see a better graphic here with, you know, the Packer colors to make sense more with the field and the surroundings. This picture just kind of shocks me.
I mean, this one the picture I just showed you guys shows a center behind it. Shows what looks like an expo center behind it. So in the same situation that we are.
Right.
I'm not trying to kill this at all, I just,
I'm going to make a motion that we refer this back to staff to see if we can come up with a better idea.
I'll second that part.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to refer back to staff to see if there is a better idea for this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Roll call. Trustee Allison Williams.
No.
Trustee Paul.
No.
Trustee Zerbal.
yes.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Melchesky.
Yes.
President Kardasky.
No.
Okay.
Tie vote?
I have,
Make a motion to approve it, or someone make a motion to approve it then, because I'll vote it down, I'll vote against it then.
yeah,
I'll move to approve it under the conditions of the colors of the poles. If you're gonna stick a bunch of black poles up there like you were talking earlier, I'd have to agree, but I think there could be some neutral color that probably wouldn't be quite as visible, even though they're gonna be somewhat, but that would be the only stipulation I would put in there. And they would only be used during the practice time. That's it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with the conditions of
neutral colors.
neutral colors.
And only utilized during practice.
Yes, work on the colors and only utilize during practice. All those, well, voice call.
Allison Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Paul.
Yes.
Trustee Zerbal.
No.
Trustee Mark Williams.
No.
Trustee Melchesky.
No.
President Kardasky.
Yes.
And the motion fails by
Okay.
3.
So what do we do?
So essentially,
No action has been
there's no
taken.
action.
There's no action.
So how do we proceed?
How do we go forward?
get hold of some.
Come back with another proposal.
Back to
Come back.
so we can get something done here.
I mean, you can extend the bucket on a fire truck 150 feet with hydraulics. Going up 40 feet with hydraulics shouldn't be this hard to figure out.
Right.
Not that we're against you, Aaron, because we're not. We all want a good product, you and us.
Okay, we'll work on it.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Okay, 11G, action on Class A beer, Class A liquor license for Good Fats Oil, Olive, DBA Green Bay Olive Oil Company. Patrick.
Green Bay Olive Oil Company at 2605 South Oneida, Suite 104, requests a Class A beer, Class A liquor license so it may offer beer and wine selections in conjunction with their other pantry and gift offerings. All paperwork and corresponding application fees have been received and filed accordingly. Public Works and Protection Committee unanimously approved the request at the last meeting. Carrie Trzynski is here, the owner of Green Bay Oil, if you have any questions for her.
Madam President, I'm going to recuse myself from any discussion on this item.
Okay.
As Chair of Public Works, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. There's a motion and a second to approve the Class A beer, Class A liquor license for Good Fats Olive Oil, DBA Green Bay Olive Oil Company. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried with one abstention. 11H, action regarding 2004 South Broadway County Trunk H Transportation Project Plat Quit Claim Deed. Tony.
All right, this matter is a request regarding just some cleanup matters concerning getting the survey approved with respect to Alden Station or the former Schneider property. Essentially, there was a transportation project plat that was previously recorded, but the deed for transferring the land was not recorded. So as a result, this is just a cleanup requesting authorization to for the village to essentially quitclaim the deed to itself to clear that up, so the survey can get finished and finalized by Brown County.
Move to approve the, how do you want me to say this?
Quitclaim?
Quitclaim deed, TPP parcel 31 to the village of Ashwaubenon.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to authorize the village attorney to quit claim deed TPP parcel 31. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11I, action on request to put crosswalk signs on Shady between Sherwood Forest pathways. Rex.
Currently at Sherwood Forest Park, there's an east side and a west side trail running through. There's currently a marked crosswalk painted on Shady Lane. We've had a resident request to the Bike and Ped Committee to put on Shady Lane crosswalk signs on each side of the painted crosswalk. And Bike and Ped recommended approval of that and then recommended to go to village board. So it's a busy walkway, quite honestly. There's a lot of people walking in Sherwood Forest, and staff feels this would be an appropriate item.
It's just a sign, Rex?
Correct. It would be a crosswalk sign on each side. The crosswalk is already painted on the roadway, Gary.
Okay, all right.
So this was already budgeted, Rex? Or is this coming out of that, money from the cell tower dollars?
I probably need to work that out with Doug. I think it just comes out of, crosswalk signs aren't that expensive. It would come out of a normal village budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the crosswalk signs on Shady between Sherwood Forest pathways.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the crosswalk signs on Shady between Sherwood Forest pathways. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Can I bring something up as long as we're on this subject? Down Cormier, we have two different areas that have electronic, I don't know what you call them. You push the button and they light up. And I'm up and down that street at least once a day, if not twice or 3 times. And I like them when they're used, but there's so many people that are afraid to use them. I don't know if they feel funny using them, but I wish they would, because if more people used them on a consistent basis, we'd have more motorists paying attention and stopping. But I would say most people don't use them, and as much as everybody tries to watch for pedestrians, we're not a society that's gotten used to that yet. But I think the more people that push that button and use them on a consistent basis, I think we're going to see a lot more people start to pay attention. So if anybody, watching this, that walk in those areas that have the electronic ones with the button, please use them. Don't feel bad about using them.
Good point.
Okay.
Is there any is it a good area to use this for, if we can afford it, or not, the same type of thing at this crosswalk?
Those are much more expensive.
Excuse me, you're talking about $4,000 to $5,000 for the ones, the ones that we put up on Cormier Road.
I just think a normal street sign crosswalk is appropriate at this stage.
Yeah, we don't have budget to do what you're talking there.
Right, and I'm not advocating for that there. I'm just want people aware that the ones that are in place now, I think they're pretty effective up on Lombardi by Lambeau Field and Titletown District. I think a lot of people are aware of them. They're used quite a bit from my experience, but the ones on Cormier, not so much, and I'm hoping that people start to, even if they don't think they need them, use them.
Okay. 11J, review and action on Allied Street Storm Sewer Contract Award. Doug.
Okay, thank you. Sitting in for Steve Burr on this one. If you remember a couple of years ago on the Ashland Access Road by Gagnon Clay Products, for a number of years that section of roadway would flood during heavy rains, and there was a secondary storm sewer that was put in to basically be a relief sewer during heavy rains that would allow the water to discharge from that area quicker. This is a similar project down on Allied Street. As many of you know, that's one of the last areas that we have that floods on a regular basis during heavy rainfalls. And working with the DOT and the property owners over there to install a relief storm sewer, currently getting the easement to install that to the DOT right-of-way. Steve had budgeted in the storm sewer utility budget for this year about $210,000 on this project. We actually hit it pretty lucky in that we had 8 bidders. We hit a lull here in construction activity for utility contractors, and we ended up getting 8 bids on this and had a low bid of just over $114,000. I think the exact number was $114,359.99. So the recommendation would be to approve and award the contract to Advanced Construction for that amount. Advanced Construction is also doing the sanitary sewer work for the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewage District. On Hanson Road, you'll see some activity happening down by Bayton Farms area. They're redoing the interceptor sewer that goes along the creekway. So they're already going to be in this area working, and that's why we think we got the extremely low bid from them. They'll have crews in the area working. With that, I'll take any questions.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Allied Street Storm Sewer Contract Award to Advanced Construction for the amount of $114,359.99.
Second.
Motion and a second to award the bid for Allied Street Storm Sewer Construction to Advanced Construction for $114,359.99. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Whoop.
Go ahead.
Motion carried.
Doug, is, with the variance in that, I mean, do we have other projects for the stormwater utility that we're going to be looking at or not?
With the variance?
Yeah. Wasn't there quite a bit of variance? I mean, you said 200,000?
Oh, with the variance in cost. I gotcha. Not for this year. This year, you approved earlier this summer 2 pond projects, one on Mar Hill, one in the Sand Acre subdivision. Those are all the projects we have for this year. There'll be a couple more we'll be looking at in future years. But what we try and do, especially on the pond projects, Steve's been really successful getting grants for the property purchase or construction, and those are on a 2-year cycle. So we're trying to get those projects built, half with stormwater utility funds, half with DNR funding. That's why you're going to see some hops on it.
So my second question is for Greg. Does that help us at all in the budget?
That's all covered under stormwater utility, so really no, it does not help the general fund.
Thought I'd ask.
Yeah, the water, sanitary, sewer utility, and stormwater utility are all enterprise funds, unfortunately.
I'm trying.
Okay, 11K, request to approve second amendment to public stadium lease agreement. Tony, this is with the lease agreement that we approved prior to this, so.
Yes, essentially, this is the new updated amendment with respect to the public stadium lease agreement with the Booyah. As was previously indicated and negotiated with the owners as a result of the circumstances of the first half of this year with COVID-19 and the effects that it had on their ability with respect to the rental payments. This new agreement reflects the extension, essentially, of an additional 3 years for rental payments, as well as removing the village's obligation to perform maintenance and capital improvement expenses. That obligation for the village is completely removed and is now assumed as well by Big Top Baseball or the owners of the Booyah. So essentially, this is the updated agreement to reflect those terms and conditions.
What was the maintenance agreement?
Trustee Paul, could you speak into your microphone, please?
What was the maintenance agreement that we agreed upon?
Essentially, originally the village was to contribute $50,000 in years 1 through 5 to the maintenance fund. So that's been reduced, as well as there was an increase.
Admission fee?
Yes, that's correct.
The other question I have on this, when is this going to be, I didn't read through this real well, when is this going to be totally paid for, and what year? Just to give me a round number here.
2041, it will be the last.
2041 is the one, that is the end of the payment of the stadium, it will be paid for?
That's with respect to Big Top's payments.
Okay.
If there's no other discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the second amendment to the public stadium lease agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the second amendment to the public stadium lease agreement. All those in favor say
Okay,
aye.
I got a question.
Yes.
So basically, we're trading them in the short term some rent and we're getting back not having to pay into the maintenance fund. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
So bottom line, it zeroes out?
Yes, we end up with the same amount financially, and then there's also the ticket fee that we will also receive.
Right.
And we were very conservative on the numbers for the ticket fee.
Okay.
And and then we extended it 3 years, so.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Okay, L, General Fund 2020 Financials and Forecast. Greg?
Just want to take a few minutes to kind of give an update of where we're at with the general fund, specifically our financial scenario this year. Everybody knows it's nationwide, worldwide. There's just a lot of budgetary issues. So for us specifically, I put together the financials with a forecast and kind of looked ahead in the future with a lot of different information that I'm gathering. It's constantly changing. I had a call on Friday, for example, with the League of Wisconsin Municipalities and other finance directors across the state to constantly get more updates. What are people seeing? What are the trends? Right now, for us, we're dealing really with a revenue shortage, as most people are, more than we are with a lot of incurred costs related to COVID. So our COVID expenditures, added expenditures have been fairly minimal, whether that's through election costs or PPE or cleaning supplies, et cetera. You see the plexiglass on the counters, those types of things. That we have money to be reimbursed with from the state through the CARES Act. We have available to us $275,000, but we've only hit about $15,000 of expenditures. So there's a lot of money out there that we're hoping we'd have access to, but at this point we don't, because it's only for additional expenses. So from our forecasting perspective, unfortunately, we can't tap into the rest of those funds unless something were to happen at a state level. But those are federal funds, so there's a lot of work to make that happen. For us, our big revenue shortfall is room tax, and that's consistent throughout the state. We're looking at really a room tax shortfall of about just under $300,000 this year. And there's still some hope that the NFL will have fans in the stands, but that's constantly changing. Your guess is as good as mine. My forecast really predicts nothing there. Just don't see any viable, at this point, reason to put any kind of positive forecast there. We still have revenue coming in the hotels throughout the summer. We've had some softball tournaments bringing people in. We've had other things. So we've actually generated a little more revenue in April, May, and in June than we anticipated. So that's helpful, but it's still a major shortfall. Some of the other areas, the key areas for us are probably in the interest income. A little bit of a lag, but we'll see some drops in that revenue as well. And the other piece was the tribe, our agreement with the tribe. At this point, doesn't look like they're going to be able to make that payment, and that's $350,000, of which we use for a variety of capital projects. You don't necessarily tie it in operations, but a lot of those projects had already been started or paid, so we're looking to find a way to make that up as well. So those are the two really large items. There's a lot of puts and takes. The Park and Rec, for example, obviously not a lot of revenue, but then there's not a lot of cost either because the lake's not open, so we don't have that cost. So that, in many ways, sort of washes out things like rescue, ambulance billing revenue. Some of the police services revenue are down a little bit for a month and a half, 2 months, just because, like most departments, number one, there's not a lot of traffic out there. There's not a lot of activity, so therefore there's not a lot of issues per se. Nothing that our staff isn't doing, they're doing wrong. It's just there's not a lot out there. That has picked up. That's consistent with traffic counts throughout the state have been way, way down. Those started picking up at the end of May into June. So I think we're kind of getting back to a normal, but those are a couple months of hits, things like that. The state level shared aids right now are staying constant this year. They don't predict any changes. Specifically in an election year, they said neither party would dare touch any of those at this point, so that's good for us municipalities. The unknown is the future. And so the state runs a July 1 to June 30th budget cycle. Most municipalities run a fiscal year January 1 to December 31st. So the big question is going to be when the aid reductions will happen. There will be aid reductions, probably in state shared aids and general transportation aids, potentially, both. It's just a matter of when that would happen, if that's going to hit us in 2021 or definitely hit us in 2022 or both. So for our forecast, again, those revenues are fairly consistent, but there will be a hit in the future. So how do we get through all that this year? I'd like to try to balance the budget this year. The one really good thing is our health insurance has been very, very strong, very good. We're self-funded, so that means we, the employees in the village pay in the premiums. That directly pays for all of our costs. We have had, looking like we're going to have some good excess there. We have the ability to forgive premiums at the end of the year, and we've done that if our plan's doing really well. We'll forgive a December premium. That's both to the employer and to the employee. So we could make up a lot of ground by doing that. It looks like we'll be able to. I can't commit to that. Obviously, a lot can happen right now, but our medical costs are sitting around 60% budget right now. That's a nice number. A lot of that's people putting things off. Hopefully everyone's healthy and nothing happens. We haven't had a COVID breakout in the area, and we're hoping that that doesn't happen. So right now we're looking at a forecast of $267,000 negative. That does not include any forecasting or any forgiving of premiums. There's a few other areas. I think as long as we don't have any major hits in costs, I've pretty much predicted out the revenues of where we're going to be. I feel comfortable with that number. I think we can still balance the year, but it's going to have an impact to future years. So this isn't something, ooh, great, this is good, let's just move forward. It will have an impact to years going ahead. I don't want to dip into reserves this year. I think we may have to do that into the budgeting next year. That might be an option. So we can avoid doing that 2 years in a row. That'll help us down the road. So I'll talk more about that in the next agenda item. But from a forecast perspective, that's where we're at. I want to wait to see what else could still happen in this year. And maybe the NFL will put fans in the stands. Maybe they'll put 50,000 in there and we'll have a lot of hotel revenue. I don't know. That changes all the time. So. It's just
I heard from Packers ticket holders that there's a discussion going on of having 10 to 12,000 people in seats for the home games, but that still probably would not have much of an impact on our room tax.
Right, that could be all local people and no one's staying at a hotel. We don't know, even if they have some, how many of those people are actually staying at hotels. So anybody have any questions? Informational.
Okay. So 11M, 2021 budget timeline. Great.
Real brief here, just wanted to provide you the timeline for the budget. It's very similar to years past. Working backwards, we normally adopt the budget at our scheduled board meeting in November, which would be November 24th, and we have a public hearing and formal adoption. The key date for you all is the budget review meeting, the joint village board finance and personnel meeting on Tuesday, November 10th. That's the date where we would get together and go through the proposed budget. Back to the beginning, from a staff perspective, we'll have a kickoff meeting on Thursday, August 20th, and then from there it's submitting budgets in late September, working internally with staff, with the president, and working through how we're going to balance the budget next year. So I will come with updates throughout the way in case there's a want or desire to have a second meeting, second budget discussion meeting, depending on how things go. But I will keep you posted as we go through each month here, where we're at, how is it looking, what are the challenges we're facing and things like that. So if anybody doesn't have any objections, then we can lock in these dates.
I'll make a motion, we approve the budget timeline as presented.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the budget timeline as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11N, 2021 budget preview. Greg.
It's a lot of budget talk. I didn't want to muddle it all into one, but it really is. Just to give your attention, it will be a challenging year. Like I said, I'm anticipating anywhere from 5 to 10% reduction in AIDS next year. There's, at this point, really not much confidence that the agreement with the tribe will happen next year either. They're really struggling. We are working hard to get something and find new and creative ways that they might be able to access federal funds in different capacities to help us in certain areas. And so, we're starting in a, between that and shared aid reductions, and I know I brought this up in the past, and it's always difficult to explain. The assessment ratio is already predicted to drop 5 points. That is the correction to basically assessed value to the market value of property, and it's based off of sales. And so in this case, property that might be valued at $200,000 is selling for $180,000. That's what the market is saying. So I'm just saying, so they're dropping this assessment ratio.
I heard it's just the opposite.
Well, these are the numbers through the assessor's office, through the state, that are coming through. So what happens is that assessment ratio actually lowers our levy amount to keep the tax rate the same. So because that ratio drops, it's in the tax calculation. If we want to have the same tax rate, based on what I've worked with our assessor's office, and they're usually spot on with this, we would have to lower our levy $400,000 just to keep the same tax rate. So between that and Unitas, we're starting, all things else being equal, $750,000 in the hole for the budget, which has never happened before. I'm hoping that's not true. I had a discussion with Paul Diener on last Friday, and he confirmed that. So that's where that number is going to come in. So I just want you to be aware that there are going to be some severe challenges from a staff perspective to get this budget through, and we may have some discussions about things we've never had discussions about. There's just a variety, how do we get this to balance? So one of those is dipping into reserves, which we've never done. We may have to. We just have to have a plan to get out of that down the road. So,
Greg, is the assessed valuation decrease, is that done locally or is that done as a statewide level?
that's done locally through our assessor's office. When they do a market revaluation, that's what they're doing, is they're.
I understand that, but that reduction of 5%, I don't believe that, because everything's being sold for more than asking price.
The state looks at our area more than our individual community, and they look at sales. They're looking at just that. I've talked to Paul, we could have him come in and present, it might be a good idea, but they look at sales data. And that's exactly how I posed it to him. So if I have something where 200, he said, yeah, that's what's happening. So I'm going off the information I'm getting, and that would be what drives that ratio down. In a seller's market, that ratio goes up.
Right.
And that's good for us, because then we artificially get more for our dollar, if you will. So I'll keep working that, keep asking. What the delay in getting that finalized is, we'll have by the end of August the equalized values of the village, both with TID in and TID out. But it's the appeals process through manufacturing, that's what pushes and delays everything, and that won't get done. It'll be late October before that's final. General transportation aid won't be final till late October. Shared aids won't come in until late September. So we just don't know what the state's going to do in 2021. They could put a budget. They're not going to do a budget amendment bill, which they have to do. The governor cannot just cut the aids. He has to go through the legislative process. They have to do a budget repair bill if they were to do that. And the point is, on an election year, neither side's going to do that. But they could, on January 2nd, they could do that. And so we just don't know. We don't know what the feel is at the state. They're still waiting for all of their information to come through. Everyone's just kind of in a hold and wait pattern to see how bad is this really going to get for the rest of the year. So,
I know what you're saying, Mark. And I know where you're getting your information from, Greg, and I trust everything you say. But everything, my neighbor, the houses selling around me, and not just that, but people that shop at my store that live outside my area in Ashwaubenon, and even Green Bay, around near area, they're listing their houses, and they're people are outbidding each other. So yeah, that's kind of confusing.
It is, and we ran in this a few years ago, and it's the equalization offices throughout the state that really drive this. And so they look at the region and the area in general. And so I think Ashwaubenon always, we've always fared well through bad economies. Through the 08, 09, you looked up and down. There were struggles, but for the most part, we weren't dealing with a lot of the issues a lot of people were. But yet we got slapped with like a $60 million negative economic change one year, and you look around and go, why? But and I talked to Mike Diener, we called their office, and it's, well, we're just using real data that comes in. So it's very frustrating. And I would recommend maybe having Paul and/or Mike or whoever come in and just explain the whole process again, because it is frustrating. It's frustrating, especially in this village, because we typically, we lose a business, a lot of times the one fills right back in. Not always, but in many cases. So yeah, and you're right. You see the property values, especially around Lambeau. People are paying a premium for those homes. But
Okay.
Okay, any more questions, discussions? Okay, moving on to O. Request to adopt Charter Ordinance 07-2-20 regarding appointment of clerk treasurer position.
Okay, so consistent with the spring election referendum, this is a charter ordinance that changes or modifies the clerk treasurer position from an elected to an appointed position. So essentially, the charter ordinance cleans up our related village ordinances so that can take effect. Charter ordinances do take at least 60 days to take effect after publication. So this is all certainly anticipated to go on this fall, and the clerk treasurer position is expected to be vacated in January of '21.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 07-2-20.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 07-2-20. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 11P, discussion and possible action on the process to fill the vacancy of the office of trustee for wards 9 and 10. Patrick?
Patrick?
That's
I just wrote it up for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This board needs to determine how they want to go about filling the position of wards 9 and 10. Pretty simple.
Yep. Can leave it vacant.
I could, of course, by your approval, I can write up a, for the website, for publishing, that there's an opening, and we'll take applications and resumes, and you could interview those applicants in open session at the next regularly scheduled village board meeting and appoint at that time. It's entirely up to the village board.
I'm torn on this, to be very honest with you, because I've been on other boards where we've lost members and then, like on the school board and everything, where when it came after the election and it's the next election, that person had to run no matter what anyways. Ken's position was up next year anyways, and we just let it fill naturally because we all know that the incumbents, if they're appointed or something like that, have a upper hand in the election the next year. So I mean, I don't know. We've always, when it was midterm like this and everything, especially in election year, have not filled it. I mean, that's the way boards I've been on anyways.
With this one right now, though, there's 9 months before this position would be filled, because it's next April.
Sure.
And, we had a situation tonight where we had tie vote twice, and motion failed. So.
That would be the only reason I'd say we'd have to fill it is for voting reasons. I'd like to think we could run vacancy for the next 264 days, but for voting purposes, I think we need to fill the position.
I think we need to go through the application process because some of you are aware that we are building a new home in my hometown, and I will be resigning either in August or September probably. So we need to fill.
Well, there's some.
We need to be consistent with filling the process of filling the vacated seats.
Okay.
With that being said, I believe then we should do that.
Do the applications.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right, let's move to approve that.
Second. So we have a motion and a second to approve putting the application on the village website And we will advertise for somebody to fill the position, and we will have the interview at the next village board meeting.
Roughly the same process we went through when Allison took her position.
Correct.
Correct.
All right.
Same time frame.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for that. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11Q, action on change of agent, Oneida Tribe of Indians of Wisconsin, DBA Oneida One Stop, Packerland.
Typically, this is under consent agenda. For some reason, it got here. So everything's in order. No issues.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve that change of agent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 12, items for next agenda. If anybody has anything that they would like on the agenda, let us know. Number 13, closed session.
During the meeting, the village board of the Village of Ashwaubenon may convene into closed session pursuant to A, Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851C, for considering the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee, including Village of Ashwaubenon employees' request for leave of absence, and Ashwaubenon Public Safety employee personnel and grievance matters over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. B, Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851F, for the purpose of possible discussion and action on considering Village of Ashwaubenon employees' request for leave of absence and Ashwaubenon Public Safety employee personnel grievance matters and financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where parens B applies, which, if discussed in public, would likely have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. C, Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851G, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel concerning strategy with respect to Ashwaubenon Public Safety employee personnel grievance and sick leave arbitration and litigation matters in which it is or likely to become involved. The village board may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 19.852 to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda.
Move to go to closed session.
Second.
Motion and a second to go into closed session. All those in favor say aye.
Roll call.
I'm
Trustee Allison Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Paul.
Yes.
Trustee Zerbal.
Yes.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Malcheski.
Yes.
President Kardowski.
Yes.
We are in closed session at 8:27.